Hey guys, so this is a follow-up to the video I made yesterday about Charlie Kirk and Snake Eyes. I told you guys what the Snake Eyes is about, what's symbolizing, and that's the Garden of Eden and the Tree of Good and Evil, which is the pillars of Solomon's temple, right? The sun and the moon, the opposites. And Adam and Eve, when they ate from the tree of good and evil when they weren't supposed to, they fell into duality, and I'm kind of showing that that's what essentially that's what everyone is guilty of right now. Like with this whole Charlie Kirk situation, you're either side, you're either seeing it from like good or bad, like, oh, he was a good guy, or oh, he was a bad guy. Or like if you're a little bit more advanced, like you're more of a truther, you're seeing it as, oh, like it was real, but he was being taken down by Israel. Or you're on the side of like, oh, it was fake, it was completely fake, and it was all like a Masonic ritual or something like that. Like if you're on any one of those sides, you're on the outside pillar, and this whole thing is just a microcosm for what, like, the overall message, which is going back to the Garden of Eden, going back to the turning point, back to the future, back to the, because the Garden of Eden is the end point in Revelation. The Garden of Eden, the Tree of Life, is in Revelation. That's why we're going back to the future, back to the garden, because the future is the beginning, like the first and the last. I and my Father, or that's what I and my Father are one is about. I going back to how things are supposed to be, okay? And we have not been there as long as we've been alive, but I personally believe we're in the time, like we're so close, like for the prophecy to be fulfilled, okay? I think that's why this is all happening. And it's not because they are just performing a ritual, like, oh, this was a Masonic ritual. Like you hear so many people saying that, or you hear, like, because you see the connections to, like Back to the Future, and people are like, it's a Back to the Future riddle. It's like, it's so much more than that, and that's what I'm trying to show you guys. Like it's like, what is that stuff? Like, what is the point of that stuff? What is the meaning behind Back to the Future? What is the meaning of all these Masonic symbols? They all point to what I'm saying, like being one with the Father. I and my Father are one. That's why I find that in every event, because I know that everything that happens is all pointing towards that, and we're all going to that. Like we're all going towards that. Like prophecy is happening, it's being fulfilled. We are in the Bible. The Bible is real, but because you'll see a lot of people like finding biblical connections, and they think that like the elites are using the Bible like it's a Bible ritual, or it's a Bible riddle, or no, the Bible is happening. And I'm like, I'm not gonna share the numbers, but my numbers are proof that the Bible is real, that it is happening. And that's why I can't share it yet. Like I will soon, but I have to go to, like, like I said, I'm looking for rabbi, pastor, master mason, quantum physicist. This is like bringing religion and science together. And I don't want to get too far into that right now, but I just want to talk about, like, the Garden of Eden stuff, and going back to peace and harmony with the Father. Like before Adam and Eve ate from the tree of good and evil, they were able to be one with the Father. They weren't. That's why, like, as soon as they bit from the wrong tree, they were banished from the garden. So we're going back to the garden, and that's why turning point is a big symbol. That's why there is those connections with Charlie Kirk and Back to the Future. Like I didn't even make them, like other people made them, but I'm just showing why. I'm just saying why, because it's about, Back to the Future is about I and my Father are one, being one with the Father. And the biggest clue is the biggest scene with the Jupiter, or the lightning strike on the clock tower, because Jupiter is the lightning and Saturn is the clock, the keeper of time. So that is, and Jupiter is the son of Saturn, so that is I and my father are one. And that's why he has to go back in time and make everything right, because like it's just putting all the pieces back together. And that's what we are going to do. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I believe that we're on the way there. And that's why I feel like even though like I'm saying that you should, like, I'm encouraging you to stay away from like the illusion of choosing a side, that's still, I know that even that needs to be where it's at right now, because everything is always happening how it's supposed to be. Like, we can't switch or change anything. Like, everything is happening exactly how it's supposed to be. But it's like, it's just like, it's a paradox, because it's not gonna keep happening that way. Like somebody has to step up and say something, because no one else is. And I've waited long enough, and at this point I realize that I am the one who has to do it, because, you know, I don't think anyone else would be able to make like the connections, like, you know, with what I just said with the snake eyes and the garden, and going back to, you know, rebuilding Solomon's temple. And that's why Trump said that Charlie Kirk was a master builder at his funeral. I knew exactly why. I knew exactly why he said that, and that's why all the Masonic symbolism is. You see it because it's about rebuilding Solomon's temple. It's not just so that you can, like, it's not just to mock you and to mock the masses and to show everyone that they're in the club. Like, it's to help us. It's to help. It's to help us, and I guess it's just to help me, the one person who is able to take like all the things that they're putting out there, to see the bigger picture, you know, because the snake eyes thing, that was not meant to, like, that was meant to be found. There's no way that we weren't going to find it. They knew we were going to, and it was meant for us to, because someone was supposed to make that connection to going back to the Garden of Eden and rebuilding Solomon's temple. And it happened to be the widow's son, because the widow's son is the rebuilder, master builder, rebuilder of Solomon's temple. So you can ask yourself that, wrap your head around that. What are the odds that the widow's son is the one, like, putting all these pieces together about, like, you know, rebuilding Solomon's temple, like, and I'm not saying like I'm the only one who, like, is finding those things. Like I said, everyone else is finding the 33s and hearing people say, like, you know, the Masonic, you know, phrases and stuff, like, but like the widow's son is the one explaining why, who is understanding why and trying to share that to others, because it's way beyond just like, oh, like, they're in the club, or it's a Masonic riddle, a Masonic ritual, like this, that. It's like, that's what everyone is saying, and it's not. It's more than that. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here today. And it couldn't be more perfect that it's the widow's son who is, you know, the one to put it all together. And I also wanted to say, you know, it's perfect because Rambo, you know, you guys have been hearing Rambo talk about the circle, and the connection with Charlie Kirk in the circle, and that validates all my work from last year. Everything I'm saying is from last year, and I was saying all these things, like the circle, pi, going back to the Father, back to the future, going back to the garden. I was saying all this stuff last year, and you can see in my videos, so I encourage you to do that. 2024. So I've just known that everything that happens is always all about this. Like, I've been on this, and this kind of seems like one of the, like, things are just heating up more and more, because this is like one of the biggest, like, events that have happened in a long time, especially in my whole time of being a truther, you know. But yeah, I don't know, I'm losing my train of thought. I just wanted to kind of take a little bit more time to, you know, talk about the Garden of Eden stuff, going back to the garden, the snake eyes, and the turning point, you know, like, putting that all together, and And also think about, you know, like the snake eyes and what I mentioned with the pillars of Solomon's temple, like the opposite pillars. Like that's why he was such a perfect symbol for this whole thing, because he was a debater, and he was debating, like he would always debate, like, you know, good versus bad. Like that's like what he was known for. That's what he got, you know, for doing. And you see the division with, like, that's been going on. It's like that's why I'm telling you, that's why, because it's about the pillars of Solomon's temple, the you know, the sun and moon, and that, you know, the snake eyes, and we had to rebuild Solomon's temple. They're not, it's not all against us. Like they're doing things for us, you know. It's, or God is, or so, I don't know, but this is for us, and you got to figure that out, you know. I figured that out. I'm trying to share it. So I'm trying to encourage people not to get deceived by the idea that, oh, it's them versus us, or they're it's just a ritual, just a ritual. So it's so much more than that. Okay, so that's all. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.